Hello and welcome back to part 5 of What If Naruto Was in The Walking Dead. When we last left off, the prisoner that Rick had let live, Andrew, returned to exact revenge on the group and led a horde of walkers into the prison. This threw the group into a panic in an attempt to solve the various problems arising. They ultimately stopped the culprit, Andrew. But before they did, he killed T-Dog, riddling Rick with guilt. While this was happening, Naruto managed to deliver Lori's baby safely as well as keep her alive. The remainder of the group managed to clear the courtyard and secure back their cell block, while Daryl went out to find formula for Lori's new baby. Once they all regrouped back in the cell block, they sleep for the night and the next morning, give T-Dog a proper burial. Maggie and Glenn went into town in search of more baby supplies, and while in town, they searched a pharmacy, finding the supplies they needed. As they are discussing their return to the prison, a young woman with a katana, Michonne, is watching them, keeping herself hidden. Suddenly Glenn and Maggie hear a man's voice approach them and they raise their guns in defense. Glenn couldn't believe who it was. Merle? He questioned. Merle couldn't believe it either. It was Glenn. You made it, said Glenn. Merle then proceeded to ask, can you tell me, is my brother alive? Glenn confirms that Daryl is still alive and Merle asks him for his location. Glenn is taken back by this and is not sure how to respond when he suddenly sees Merle's prosthetic arm and is distracted. We'll tell Daryl you're here and he'll come out to meet you, answered Glenn. Merle is not happy with this answer and in response shoots at them, managing to take Maggie hostage. With no choice, Glenn is forced to comply with Merle and he drives them back to his camp to be interrogated. This was all spotted by the woman, Michonne, who herself was being hunted by Merle. She overheard that Glenn and Maggie had come from a prison and in an attempt to find someone to help her with her injuries, retrieves the baby supplies and sets off in the direction of the prison. When Glenn and Maggie arrive at Merle's camp, they are separated and Merle interrogates Glenn by himself. You don't even know why you are here, do you? I didn't mean you no harm. I lowered my gun, but you raised yours. You were an asshole out there. Just like you were on that rooftop, back there, in Atlanta, says Merle. Glenn lies, telling him that his brother and the rest of the group have been on the road the whole time. Merle catches on to the lie, however, and proceeds to beat the truth out of him. Where the hell are they? Tell me, Merle says as he beats Glenn. We cut back to the prison where Rick is outside with his newborn daughter, along with Naruto and some of the group. Suddenly, Naruto sees someone standing outside the fence. Rick hands the baby off to Beth and they go investigate what's outside the fence, Carl following them. Naruto approaches and looks directly into Michonne's eyes. Her presence is discovered by walkers and she begins to fend them off with her katana. Should we help her? Carl asks as Michonne falls over. Naruto doesn't have time to think this through and just rushes out, taking down walkers in front of him along with Rick, saving the woman. As Rick inspects her, Carl goes over to the baby supplies she was carrying and brings them in. Is she bit? Asked Herschel. No. Gunshot. Rick responds, slightly on edge. They bring her into the prison and set her down in the cafeteria, separated from the cell blocks. She's not coming in the cell blocks, says Rick as she starts to wake up. Who are you? You want to tell us your name? Asks Naruto. But Michonne is still defensive. As Naruto is questioning Michonne, Daryl comes into the room and says, Rick, come in here. You're gonna wanna see this. Rick makes his way into the cell blocks and is met by the sight of Carol helping Lori sit up on her bed. Rick is emotional, on the verge of tears as he comes closer to Lori, hugging and kissing her. Rick tells Beth to bring in their baby as Lori meets her daughter for the first time. She begins to cry and hug her baby, making all around her also very emotional. As the Grimes family share an intimate moment, Naruto continues to question Michonne. We can tend to that wound for you, give you a little food and water, then send you on your way. But you're gonna have to tell me how you found us and why you were carrying baby formula, says Naruto. The supplies were dropped by a young Asian guy with a pretty girl, answers Michonne. What happened to them? Asked Naruto. Herschel, also eager to know. They were taken by the same son of a bitch who shot me, she says. Can you tell us where they were taken? Asks Naruto. But Michonne is hesitant to answer. This hesitancy frustrated Daryl and he started pointing his crossbow at her. Naruto holds him back, however, and instead tells Michonne, you came here for a reason, right? There's a town, Woodbury, about 75 survivors. I think they were taken there, responds Michonne. A whole town? Questions Naruto, somewhat intrigued by the prospect of such a place. Michonne begins to explain the governor, the soldiers and the security around the town. After getting all the information he needs, Naruto points over to Herschel and says, this is Herschel, the father of the girl who was taken. He'll take care of you. Naruto makes his way over to Rick and the rest of the group to explain the situation. As he approaches, he sees Lori holding her baby in her arms, and she calls him over, giving him a hug and expressing her gratitude for him saving her life. Naruto had fully earned the group's trust at this point. After this is done, Naruto pulls Rick and some others aside to explain the situation with Glenn and Maggie. How do you know we can trust her? Questions Rick. This is Maggie and Glenn. Why are we even debating? Interrupts Beth. We're not. Me and Daryl already agreed to take Michonne and go after them, says Naruto. I'll go, adds Oscar. Rick is also about to volunteer, but is held back by Lori. He could tell that she didn't want him to go, so he obliged. Rick trusted Naruto and Daryl to handle this. After Michonne is patched up, Naruto, Daryl and Oscar take a car and have her lead them to the town Glenn and Maggie were taken to. We cut to Glenn still being beaten by Merle for the location of his group, however he does not budge. That is until minutes later Merle would return with Maggie and the governor. The governor threatens and harassed Maggie in front of Glenn, finally breaking him into revealing the location of the prison. After revealing all the information they wanted to know, Glenn and Maggie were left locked in the room, awaiting their execution. Meanwhile, the governor and Merle discuss what to do about the group in the prison who the governor views as a threat. However, Merle still wants to save his brother, Daryl. As night begins to fall, Naruto, Oscar, Daryl and Michonne park some distance away from the town and make the rest of the way on foot. We cut back to the group in the prison as Rick is spending some time with Lori and their new baby. The pair were deciding what they should name their baby girl, with Carl suggesting Judith. Suddenly Rick hears a cry coming from the prison corridors. What was that? Was it Carol? Asked Rick. No, she's out keeping watch in the guard tower with Axel. Sophia answers. I'm going to check it out, Rick says as he leaves his family in Herschel's and Beth's hands. He was going alone until Carl asked to join him. Rick told him no, but Carl refused. He still remembered the talk that Rick had given back on the farm, about there being no more little kid stuff and how he would have to grow up fast, because people would die. Carl was eager to learn more so that he could protect people like others in the group, such as Naruto. Rick ultimately agrees to his son's request and the pair set off in the direction of the sound. They arrive at an unknown room in the prison and find a random group of survivors fending off walkers. Rick is hesitant to help them, but Carl immediately shoots a walker and saves the woman struggling against it. Come on, this way, screams Rick. One of the women in the group is injured and has to be carried by one of the other men in the group. Is she bit? Asked Rick. We'll take care of it, answered the man carrying her. The group make their way back from where Rick and Carl came and arrive in the cafeteria next to their cell blocks. The new group sets the bit woman down and inspects her. Oh, God. Donna? Is she dead? Says the woman's husband, Alan. She's dead. You're going to have to take care of that, says Rick. Whoa. Wait a minute, answers the biggest man in the group, Tyrese. Look, we can help you, but first things first. She doesn't have that long, mentions Rick. As the new group debate who is going to take care of the woman's body, Rick and Carl make their way into their cell blocks and lock the new group in the cafeteria. Did you just lock us in here? Questioned the other woman of the group, Sasha. This room is secure. You'll be safe. You have food and water, answers Rick. Sasha is angered by this, but Tyrese convinces her to let it go. We got other things to do. We don't want any trouble, he tells them. Shouldn't we help them? Carl asked Rick. I did, he responded. We cut back to Naruto and his group sneaking their way into the small town. Any idea where else they could be? Naruto asks Michonne. I thought you said there was a curfew, said Daryl. The group breaks into a storage house in order to remain hidden. The street is packed during the day. Those are stragglers, says Michonne. If anyone comes in here, we're sitting ducks, mentions Daryl. Oscar was on watch, while Naruto just looked around the house assessing the new environment. We have to move. Where are our people? Said Naruto. Michonne isn't sure herself where they could be kept, but gives them an idea of where they could be. You said you could help us, said Daryl angrily. I'm doing what I can, answered Michonne. Then where in the hell are they? Hey, if this goes south, we're cutting her loose, Daryl told Naruto. You think she's leading us into a trap? Asked Naruto. Right now, it's the blind leading the blind, answered Daryl. Before they can continue their discussion, a man comes into the house, and everyone is quick to hide behind something. I know you're in here. I saw you moving from outside. You're not supposed to be in here, and you know it. Who's in here? Asked the man, confident he had seen people in this house. Suddenly Naruto grabs the man by the mouth and tells him, shut up, get on your knees, hands behind your back, zip tie him. As he says this, Daryl and Oscar restrain the man. Where are our people? You are holding some of our people here. Where the hell are they? questioned Naruto. The man was genuinely confused, and Naruto knew that he didn't know anything about where Glenn and Maggie were being held. After the group ties the man up and shuts his mouth, Naruto knocks him out. The group are still lost as to where to begin their search, so Naruto uses this time to sense the town for any familiar chakras. Sure enough, he senses where both Glenn and Maggie are being held. He can also sense that they are fighting against a few different people. Suddenly gunshots are heard from the direction Naruto sensed their chakras, and he led the group over in that direction. Upon arriving at the room where the gunshots came from, Naruto is able to see Glenn and Maggie being carried out by a group of armed men. "What do we do?" asked Daryl. "We use these," answered Naruto, as he pulled some ninja smoke bombs out of his pouch. "You just seem to have everything in there, don't you?" snarked Daryl. As Glenn and Maggie get closer to Naruto's group, he throws the smoke bombs in, blinding the armed men. They quickly retrieve Glenn and Maggie with little difficulty and make their way outside. Once outside, Michonne splits from the rest of the group and sets out to find the governor to exact her own vendetta. At this point, the governor has found the man Naruto tied up in the storage room and has set the whole town into alert. They are now looking for the group. Inside, "Quick," says Naruto as he leads the group into another house. "Ain't no way out back here," says Daryl. Naruto gives a quick examination to Glenn and Maggie, making sure they're alright. "Where's that woman?" asked Maggie. "She was right behind us," answered Naruto. "Maybe she was spotted." "Want me to go look for her?" said Daryl. "No. If she split from us, she must have her own reason. We gotta get them out of here," replied Naruto. Suddenly, Glenn interrupted. "Daryl, this was Merle. He did this. He was gonna execute us." "So my brother's this governor?" questioned Daryl. "No, it's somebody else. Your brother's his lieutenant or something," answered Maggie. "Does he know I'm still with you?" Daryl asks. "He does now." "Naruto, I'm sorry. We told him where the prison was. We couldn't hold out," says Glenn. "Don't worry, no need to apologize. They're gonna be looking for us. We have to get back." "Can you walk?" "We got a car a few miles out," Naruto tells Glenn. After the group takes a minute to catch their breath, Naruto sees that the streets are now filled with people. Realizing that there was no way out for Glenn and Maggie that didn't involve fighting. He could also tell how Daryl is hesitant to join them. Perhaps it was the news of his brother that has got him distracted. Nevertheless, Naruto arms himself with a gun and leads the group through the town looking for an exit. He throws smoke bombs around in an effort to conceal themselves and starts to shoot at any enemies that spot them. This carries on for a while as the group moves from cover to cover. They are pinned in a corner for a while until Daryl tells the group, "You guys go ahead. I'm gonna lay down some cover fire." Naruto protests this, but Daryl insists and splits the attention of the enemies, clearing a path for the rest of the group. Oscar helps Glenn and Maggie over the wall, and the group all manages to escape, however without Daryl. They find a place to hide near the town and wait to see if Daryl makes it out. Suddenly rustling is heard from behind them, and it's Michonne, making her way towards them. "Get what you came for," Naruto told Michonne, still distressed by Daryl not making it out. "Daryl is missing." "You didn't see him?" asked Maggie. "No, but I know where he might be," answered Michonne. Some time later, we cut to the governor as he is at a makeshift arena in the town, giving a speech to the people, who were all scared. "What can I say? Hasn't been a night like this since the walls were completed," he says. "I failed you. I promised to keep you safe. Hell, look at me. I should tell you that we'll be okay, that we're safe, that tomorrow we'll bury our dead and endure, but I won't. Because I can't. Because I'm afraid. I'm afraid of terrorists who want what we have, want to destroy us, and worse, because one of those terrorists is one of our own. Merle, the man I counted on, the man I trusted. He led them here, and he let them in. It was you. You lied, betrayed us all." As the governor is giving his speech, Naruto and the group, except for Glenn and Maggie who wait for them back at the car, find a hiding spot near the arena. This is one of the terrorists. Merle's own brother, the governor says, removing a sack off Daryl's head and revealing him to everyone. "What should we do with them, huh?" the governor asked as the crowd cheered on for their deaths. Daryl looks around, meeting the eyes of his brother, but not just Merle, but Andrea as well. Daryl had not seen Andrea since they separated at the farm. He thought she had died. Andrea tries to plead with the governor, telling him, "Philip, please, don't do this. He's my friend. It's not up to me anymore." "The people have spoken," answers the governor. The governor turns to Merle and tells him, "I asked you where your loyalties lie. You said here. Well, prove it. Prove it to us all. Brother against brother. Winner goes free. Fight to the death." Naruto and the group have to wait for their chance to save Daryl, looking for an opening. As the fight begins, Merle hypes up the crowd, making them think he's on their side. But in reality, he is secretly communicating with Daryl, planning their escape. Naruto catches on to this, and the minute he sees them working together to fight off walkers, he throws in smoke bombs, and the arena crowd panic. As Oscar and Michonne shoot at the lights blinding the enemies, Naruto signals to Daryl their location, and he and Merle join the rest of the group. They're all at the arena. This way, says Merle as they are escaping the town. You're not going anywhere with us, yells Michonne. You really want to do this now? Questions Merle. Before Michonne can keep up her argument, Naruto interrupts and tells her that they'll deal with Merle once they are safe. As the sun begins to rise, the group makes their way towards the location of the parked cars, and once they arrive, Glenn and Maggie are there to greet them. The atmosphere immediately turns sour. However, the second Glenn sees Merle, "What the hell is he doing here?" spouts Glenn. "Whoa, hey, put it down," demands Naruto and Daryl. "He tried to kill me," protested Glenn. "He helped us get out of there," said Naruto. "Yeah, right after he beat the shit out of you," added Michonne. The group breaks into an argument. From what Naruto could tell, Glenn, Michonne, and Maggie didn't want Merle to go back with them. Daryl did. Naruto and Oscar were indifferent to the situation. Merle begins to tell Glenn and Maggie of Andrea's presence at the town, and they all learn she's still alive. Merle starts to mock the group for their indecisiveness, surrounded by a bunch of liars, thugs, and cowards. "Shut up," Daryl tells him. "Oh, man, look at this. Pathetic. All these guns, and no bullets in them," Merle continues to mock. "Merle, shut up," warns Daryl. "Shut up yourself. Bunch of pussies you rolling with." But before Merle can finish that sentence, Naruto knocks him out cold. "That's enough, all of you. We'll take him back to the prison and keep him in a cell. That's the compromise," says Naruto to the whole group. None of them have the strength to argue anymore, and they all agree to this, shoving Merle in the trunk of the car and making their way back towards the prison together. We cut back to the group in the prison as Herschel is stitching up one of the newcomers. "You can take those stitches out yourself in a week or so," he says. "Thank you," says Alan, the man being patched up. "Pretty nice having medical training," says Tyrese. "It'll only get you so far," replies Herschel. "You were bit?" asked Tyrese after noticing Herschel's leg was missing. The door from the cell blocks opens, and in walks Rick with Beth carrying his daughter, now named Judith by the Grimes family. The new group looked at the baby in awe. Sasha approaches Beth and Judith to take a closer look. "How old is the baby?" she asked. "Barely a week," Rick answered defensively. "To be honest, we never thought we'd see another baby," says Sasha. "And the mother?" Sasha asks. "She's resting," answered Rick. "She didn't exactly have a perfect birth," he mentioned. "Man, you people have been through the mill." "You're the only decent folks we've come across," Tyrese says. "You've been out there all this time?" questioned Rick. The new group begins to explain how they've survived until now and how they all met. Tyrese and Sasha are brother and sister. Donna was Alan's wife and Ben's mother. Rick starts to lower his guard a bit, now having a better understanding of this group. "We'll see that she has a proper burial," Herschel tells them. "I appreciate you taking care of us. For a while, we didn't know who we were dealing with," says Tyrese. "Neither did we. We've had our problems with people," said Rick. "Tyrese, we have a much larger group. A close-knit group," states Rick. "We wouldn't be a problem," insisted Tyrese. Rick knows this already and promises Tyrese that he will vouch for him. "For now, let's bury your friend's wife outside," he says. Rick leads the group outside along with Axel, Herschel, and Carl, and they pick out a spot near T-Dog's grave to bury Donna in. They wrap this up and make their way back inside the prison when Carl spots a car approaching the prison. Rick also sees it and knows who it is. "That's Naruto and Daryl," Rick tells Carl. Carol is the first one at the fence to open it for Naruto's group, and Daryl drives in. They park near the courtyard and Herschel is the first to inspect Maggie. As Herschel checks up on Maggie, Beth walks over to Naruto, kissing him and the cheek. "Thank you," she said, leaving Naruto flustered. Beth, Herschel and Maggie all share a moment of relief, and Herschel tells Beth to take Maggie inside. He'll take a look at Glenn, who Oscar is helping inside too. In the courtyard, Daryl, Naruto, and Michonne approach Rick and the new group of people he was with. "Who are they?" questioned Daryl. "New guys. They made their way in the prison through the wall that's down on the southern side," Rick answers. "Damn, we really should do something about that," adds Naruto. "So what? They're staying now," says Daryl. "I vouch for them," says Rick. "Look, I know we don't exactly have the most supplies, and we have enough people as it is, but I promise they aren't trouble, he adds. Well, Daryl isn't exactly in a position to judge, says Naruto. What do you mean? Asks Rick. Follow me, Naruto says as he leads Rick to the car that came in. Naruto pops open the trunk and Rick is taken back by who he sees. Merle? Alright everyone, that's going to be it for part 5 of What If Naruto Was in the Walking Dead. Be sure to like and subscribe for part 6 of this series, and let me know in the comments other what ifs you'd like to see. Until next time.